Good morning. The next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about the biggest environmental health problem of our time, which is air pollution. And Airlabs was set up to really become the global leader in air pollution exposure reduction. Air pollution is a direct consequence, to a large degree, of the fossil fuel economy. And many people in the room are working very hard, as we've seen yesterday and today, on doing something about that fossil fuel economy to basically kill it. But it's going to take a long, long time. And in that meantime, in the next 20, 30 years of the energy transition, what are we going to do? Are we going to let 7 million people per year die as a consequence of air pollution? Or are we going to do something about it? And that's where we come in, where we say, let's do something on the receiving end, where the people are. Air pollution is a growing problem. Even though industries are cleaning up their act, we're starting to move towards electrical vehicles and maybe hydrogen propulsion in the future. At the moment, the problem is only going up, largely driven by global trends of population growth, urbanization, and global warming. And you only have to ask the people in California, or in Bangkok, or in the last few days in Mexico City, what that means. Airlabs was set up 4 years ago by Professor Matthew Johnson of the University of Copenhagen. And Matthew had the foresight that this was going to be a global crisis and that there were not adequate solutions available. And so he built a team of scientists, and with that team he's developed some cracking technology. We have, in the meantime, also set up a global business office in London, and we're now starting to build our marketing and sales team. In terms of the technologies that were developed, and the development of that is an ongoing thing, of course, is on the one hand zooming in on the measuring and monitoring of air pollution, because the problem is you can't see air pollution, so how do you make it visible so that people know that they are exposed and know what to do to act? Secondly, we have developed a carbon nano material that is amazingly effective in capturing gas pollution from air streams. And thirdly, we have developed techniques to control and manipulate airflows, because once you've cleaned the air, you want to do something useful with it rather than throwing it around in a random fashion. And on the back of these 3 suites of technologies, a number of solutions have been developed. The first one is focusing on smart cities. What is a smart city without clean air? Okay. And unfortunately, at the moment, most cities around the world are largely blind. There's a few monitoring stations, and what does that tell you about air pollution, which is hyper-local in nature? Nothing. Okay? So we don't really know where the pollution is, where it comes from, where it's going to. And we have developed a new sensor technology that is a massive breakthrough in the cost of ownership of these air quality monitoring sensors. It's not only a cheaper product, but it's actually the lower maintenance cost, which is the critical factor. That will enable us to roll out high-density air quality sensor networks in world cities. And the cost point is such that we can offer that actually as a service, which is a major help in driving the adoption of these kind of systems. Once we know where the pollution is, we can also start to address the pollution, and that is where our other half of our technology base comes in. As Jan mentioned, we also have a product that is made for the car. Why for the car? Because the car environment is about the worst place that you can be in when it comes to air pollution. Often the air quality in your car is worse than actually on the road, believe it or not. And so we have developed this air bubble retrofit device for the 1.4 billion cars around the world that do not provide proper protection for the people inside those cars. We're, of course, selling to consumers, and that is already rapidly increasing. We launched the product in December last year. But the main target actually is the B2B sector, fleets. There are millions and millions of people in delivery vans, maintenance service engineers, you name it, who are spending their entire working day in the car, in urban traffic, exposed to air pollution. And there is growing evidence that air pollution correlates with more accidents, lower productivity, more sick days. And last but not least, increasingly employers start to realize that air pollution could well be the next asbestos. Duty of care. What kind of workplace have we provided to our employees? Yeah? And if that causes ultimately health problems, there's liability claims. And the first cases, court cases, have already started. So this product comes in and addresses that. And the interest from the industry in the UK and increasingly in the US as well, by the way, is rapidly increasing. Thirdly, we have a product called Oasis. It's a retrofit device for cleaning the air in buildings, whether it is commercial property, it's public buildings, and it is actually offered, again, as a service. So the customer doesn't pay anything up front. We install it, we run it, we monitor actually when the filter needs to be replaced. It's with sensor technology through the internet, so we know exactly when the filter needs to be replaced. And actually the filter is not being discarded, it comes back to us and it is being regenerated and it goes back to the customer as good as new. This, by the way, although we have a lot of interest, is currently on the back burner because we just don't have enough salespeople to handle the different demands from the market around the world. But we have done already demonstrators, so it's not that it's a technology that is still in development. We installed our air cleaning technology late last year in a train station in central London, which creates the first clean air zone in a train station in London. Our technology is also used by Stella McCartney in her flagship store in London. This slide gives you a bit of an idea of the sort of people that we're working with, and not only in the corporate sector, but also with cities around the world. The market for air quality improvement we foresee will grow to a market of $200 billion per annum in the next 10 years. And currently in transport, we are focusing with Air Bubble on the retrofit market, but there is interest from the vehicle manufacturers, there is interest from public transport companies, etc. We have in Smart City the beginning with our air quality monitoring sensor technology, and with Oasis we have a first foot into HVAC systems. But as the picture shows, there's lots and lots more to cover, and the technology lends itself to play a leading role in all these places. In terms of our revenue model, it's very much based on recurring revenues, and that means that getting really the footprint in the market, land grab, is key, and therefore the acceleration of our footprint in the world is going to be key. And for that, we need more money. So investment so far has been around 4.5 million euros. We're looking to raise another 10 million before the end of this year to enable us to do hyperscaling of this business. And I would love to talk with anyone who's interested. Should you not be interested in investing, think then about the fleets that some of your corporate backers operate, and think about buying an air bubble. Thank you.